Hey everybody, welcome to our Body Pump Technique Tip webinar. So rounding out our series of summer programming webinars this week, and one of them is based on Body Pump. It's a format that we didn't offer this summer, but is still readily available on other platforms like Les Mills On Demand. It also, at select gyms, depending on where you're at. Right now, if they're open and hosting any other classes that you might be taking in addition. So wanted to give everyone a chance to learn some of the technique elements for each of the movements, because they all kind of build on these foundational principles of weightlifting and strength training. And so Body Pump I've always found to be kind of a great introduction into the practice of strength training and into using resistance and just getting to know how your body moves and how it should be aligned in each of the different exercises. So that'll be another thing that we talk about today too. And then I'll also show some ways you can use hand weights if you have a set of dumbbells at home, and you're able to use those for some of the at-home workouts that you might be doing if you don't have a bar. I know equipment right now, sometimes it kind of comes in little sporadic bursts when it's available online. And so I know it's not always the most accessible for everyone, but this webinar will show you how you can make it an accessible workout wherever you're at. So whether it's in the gym, whether you're at home, and you have just some hand weights, or even some household items. We did a webinar at the beginning of the summer, how we can use household goods and items for resistance training. And I'll show you here how you can use a set of dumbbells or hand weights to be able to do your body pump training at home. And Les Mills On Demand is a really great platform to check out to complement the classes that we do here, and with some other formats that we've got, because Body Pump is a very popular format when the gym has been open at GW, so it's still a great one to continue with, even though the facility itself is closed at the moment. So Body Pump itself is 55 minutes of barbell focused training, taking the major muscle groups, really working them to that point of max muscular fatigue. And the thing that sets Body Pump apart is it is not only high reps at lower weights, but it's also about time under tension. So it goes beyond the traditional kind of, 3 sets of 8 or, between 8 to 10 or 12 reps a set. It really goes into, we're going to work a muscle group with multiple movements. You'll see that a lot in our chest, back, triceps, and shoulder tracks. That variety of movement over the course of about 5 or 6 minutes. And we're really going to play with tempo, and we slow it down, we speed up the tempo, and it really just gets the muscles fully recruited, and it gets them recruited fast. So that's kind of the key, attribute, I'll say, about Body Pump. And it's a format that has been around over 25 years. We're coming up on release. We released a special release, but they're technically 114 is the most recent release. So 114, 115 releases. So it's a long time that Body Pump has been on the market, and just like Body Combat or any of the other formats that we've introduced this summer, like Grit or Flow, you can get them all around the globe and on Les Mills On Demand. But yeah, Pump is one of the ones that has been around the longest from the Les Mills portfolio of workouts. And it's the one that is also nearest and dearest to my heart, because it was my first format 6 years ago. So first format that I did, and also went to training for. So it's got a special place in my heart, and it really introduced me into weightlifting. And it's one of my favorite ways to train, both doing Body Pump, but also weightlifting in general. So it really has a special hold for me, a special place in my heart, Body Pump. And so I could talk about it for a long time, but we've got an hour for our discussion today. So yeah, so that's what body pump is in a nutshell. Taking all the major muscle groups. We look at squats, we look at different chest exercises, different back exercises, we do lunges, we focus on the triceps, the biceps, and each of the major muscles of the shoulder, as well as the core, for a comprehensive workout, all in 55 minutes. If you are doing anything at home with Less Meals on Demand, there is some alternative options available. We call them express formats, whether they be 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And you'll see some gyms do offer 45 minutes and 30-minute sessions as well. And you'll still get a really great workout, really effective, because we're getting all the big muscles in. And that's what contributes to a greater calorie burn from a workout, is by really recruiting those major muscle groups with compound movements where there's a lot happening and a lot being worked at one time. So that is body pump in a summary. But like I said, each track focuses on a major muscle group to get you to that point of max muscular fatigue. So I'm going to demo some of the key movements, and I'll show you how they can be done weighted and unweighted too. Body pump itself, you know, things like squats and lunges, those could be done without any weight at all. You can use just you. And you'll still get a fantastic workout, because what we're doing with body pump is training our muscles for endurance. That's another thing that separates it from any other traditional strength training or powerlifting kind of program, is we're going for the endurance side of things. You'll also notice that your heart rate does get a bit higher in a body pump class compared to another, you know, strength training program that you might be doing. And the reason why is because of we're working for longer, we're working at different tempos, and our heart rate just is getting into that cardio zone more quickly, but also for longer. So you will feel a cardio element to the workout. And particularly in our more recent releases, like 112, even 111, but definitely 112, 113, and you'll see now the most recent one of 114, you will see that progression and that focus kind of into creating a more training-based scene than just a workout. So it's really evolving this program, and it's one of the great things that I love about these programs is the evolution, looking at science, looking at what is the best and most effective way to train, so it gets you more when you're going into the gym, because you're investing that time, right? And you're making that, I like to say, you make that appointment with yourself for a training session, whether it's to strength train, whether it's to do cardio, or whether it's to do a mind and body format. You're taking that time for yourself, and you want it to be the best possible. So that is one of the things I really also love about Less Meals formats in general, is that focus on looking at science, getting you the best workout possible, and also really fun music. That's another good thing too. So let's take a look at some of the different movements. I have a few things that I'll show you, like I said, with the bar. I've got my bar over here, and also some hand weights as well. And then another tool that I use just to kind of work on my alignment and foot positioning and my hand positioning when I do push-ups and things like that too. So that's what you'll see me standing on when I do some of these movements today. So let me move my chair here and we'll get started. I'm gonna adjust my screen. So whenever you come to a body pump class, you will always have a warm-up. And the warm-up is designed to get you and your joints, your muscles, and your heart rate all warmed up and ready to go. But also from a technique perspective, you're setting yourself up for the workout. You're getting used to the movements. You're becoming acquainted with how your joints should be moving, what muscles you need to engage. So you're building muscle memory. But we want to treat those warm-up rounds just like we would with our heaviest weight of the day. And that's a philosophy that you can take from any strength training program. You treat your warm-up sets or even rounds with your own body weight as you would if you had resistance or heavier resistance. So yeah, so in a body pump class, you'll always experience the same order of tracks. You'll always have your warm-up, and then you'll go right into your squat track. And there's 3 types of squats that we encounter in a squat track. We also see an innovation with the heel lift, but I'll just take you through the basics of a body pump squat. And so I have a little handy tool that I've got on the floor here, but it helps me with remembering alignment. And so we always begin from a set position where we take our feet right under our hips. So I'm gonna adjust this a little bit more. There we go. It'll be important when I bring the bar up overhead. Here we go. So our set position is the foundational stance. If you've ever taken body pump with me, you always know I'll always coach you to put your hands right on the front of your hips. So you have 2 joints right here called your ASIS. And so you want to put your fingers on those bones and figure out to put your heels right underneath. So you want to, that's your hip width position. That's going to give you a really stable base of support in each of our lifts that we do in a body pump class. So set position is a key part. We use it in nearly every single movement in a body pump class. So set stance is the foundational stance. Even lying down in a chest track or in a push-up position, set stance is always there. So that's set position. And then when you think about your squat, you would take it heel toe wider. And this would be more of our quad-based focused squat. So sinking the hips back, down, and the knees going out. That's a key thing. You want to have the knees going out towards the toes, right by second and third toe, and then push. You'll really feel the load into the quads for sure, but by pushing the hips back and keeping the knees open, we also activate the glutes, and that's what we want in the squat. We brace the core, and we keep the chest up tall. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see profile. So the profile view of your squat, right? Hips go back and knees track toward toes. So you got 2 things happening as you're doing your squat. And we stop right above that 90-degree bend and then push. That's your mid-stance squat. If you were going to do a more glute focused, more glute max focused squat, you go a little wider. Again, knees open first, hips, and you'll feel a lot more into the glutes. More side glute activation, a little wider. Same idea. Knees following toes. The knees need a path to go. And so where they go, it's toward the toes. If you're going to use a bar, you would safely clean and press it to the meaty part of your upper back. Finding your squat position, lift your chest, and then sink down, push up. Again, knees tracking towards toes. So that's with a bar. If you don't have a bar at home, no worries. You can take some hand weights. You could stack them like this or like this. You want to keep it front loaded to load the core, keeps you more upright. And same idea. Find our foot position, sink down. Option to hold your weights like this. My weights are a little bit more flat. That's why I'm able to stack them. But if you had just one, same idea, horizontally, like you're holding a plate and you don't want anything to fall off it. And that's your squat. In the chest track, I'll show you the option with plates. So, or with hand weights. So, I'm gonna adjust my mat here. take my 2 weights with me. If you don't have a bench top, this is where using 2 plates can be handy. Lying down, bring your weights up, lower down, and rise. So on the chest track, really bringing the focus into the pectorals, pec major, pec minor, lower back drawn towards the floor, and the core is engaged. So we'll see chest press. Sometimes we'll see a chest fly, where the arms go out to the side, with the elbow bend. And then we also see push-ups. Push-ups are one of the best exercises to do. They're tough. I will not lie, push-ups are tough. So what you can do is find a few options that work for you, or variations that will let you get full range and good alignment. Both matter immensely, particularly for our push-ups. So placing your hands a little wider than shoulders. You want to lower your chest to elbow level. So your chest lines up in between your hands, and then press through the floor to rise. And you're moving as one unit. So that's why is kneeling like this, or with the knees back, are great alternatives. That way you take out some of the load when the knees are lifted, because the pelvis becomes involved. So doing the push-up on your toes, a lot tougher, because we've got to also control our pelvis even more than when we've taken out that load with the knees down. So that's why even here, great way to do push-ups. In the tricep track, you would bring your hands in to a more narrow position. You want to bring your scapula into neutral, so they're resting on the top ribs, lower down, and then press. Elbows are in closer to the ribs for tricep push-ups. And then for a regular press up, you bring them about 45 degrees, maybe a little higher, for a stable push-up position. And you also want to find that chest to elbow level. That's a good range of motion for your push-up, and really stable too. I want to keep the shoulder blades in that neutral position where they're resting right on top of the rib cage. So that'll help a lot too. So those are the push-ups. We see those in chest, triceps, and shoulders, but really fundamental movement that you can do. You know, we do it in lots of different classes, and it's really versatile as well. So that's where you'll see our push-ups a lot. And we play with tempo. So that's where we're really using the option with knees down helps a lot. You want to keep the core braced, nice long spine. So you could play with tempo here and get a lot out of this push-up just by playing with tempo. So there's a lot of variety there. Back track is up next. So, few movements we do in the back track. Deadlift, dead row, clean and press, and more recently you've seen the high pull. Really powerful movements, ones that are really athletic and dynamic. There's a lot happening, and it's driven from the posterior chain. That's the back of the body, all the athletic muscles and functional muscles that we use every day. So with the deadlift, I'll show you with bar and with hand weight. Let's start with deadlift. So what you want to do, I'll turn to the side so you can see. Begin with your set position. Shoulders in neutral. You're gonna tip from your hip, feel the bar against your legs, bring it to the kneecap. And then you're gonna press through your feet, squeeze the glutes, and rise. In a row, you're gonna start like a deadlift, and you're gonna pull the bar into low belly. Bring it back to the kneecap, and rise. That's a body pump row. With the clean and press, a lot happens here. So watch my hips and how I do the triple extension. So you're gonna drop quick under the bar, press it overhead, catch it, and reset. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those 4 phases are really vital. You get the power through the triple extension. The triple extension is ankles, knees, and hips coming forward. We squeeze the glutes to make it happen and to get power and speed. You want to drop under the bar quickly. Speed is key. And then you're going to push through the legs and bring the bar up overhead. Keep the bar slightly forward. You're going to catch again, bend the knees, reset, and keep the bar close to you. It's really important to keep the bar close to you for safety, but also energy efficiency. The further the bar gets away from you, the harder it is to control it. Also, you want to use, and it sometimes takes some time to find that right amount of weight to use on the bar, but if it's going too far away from you, you might want to add just a little bit more onto the bar because you want to keep that closeness. It's like you're skimming the front edge of your t-shirt. So that closeness of the bar, really key. And then if you have hand weights, little different, but deadlift, same principle. Weights to kneecap, rows. You can keep them at the sides or a little supination for a bicep row. For the clean, slightly different. Still driving through the legs for sure, but you're gonna catch, press, and reset. So it's gonna feel a little bit different when you've got 2 weights, but you can still do some cleans with your dumbbell. Again, make sure core brace and chest press. These are the big 3 tracks you see right up front. Big muscles, we get them early when they're fresh. Then we shift to smaller muscles and give the bigger muscles a little bit of time to recover. But they're still helping us out in triceps, in biceps, and then even shoulders too. With triceps, you'll likely see overhead extensions where we bring a plate overhead. So I will do this in kneeling, but you can do them in kneeling and standing or seated. We've seen all 3 in body pump. So you take your plate, bring it up, over, hide the plate behind your head, lift it up, and bring it down. That's the overhead extension. When you're kneeling, squeeze your glutes and brace your core. Set position, it's still here. My knees are under my hips, just like they would have been when I'm standing up. I want to brace the core and shoulder blades into neutral, just to give you that stability. There's going to be a little bit, slight elevation, just a little, but neutral will help you out. And you want to keep elbows in. That's how you isolate your triceps. That's super important. You'll also see kickback rows done with a weight. You can lift up, kick back, bring it in and down. So what you want to do is stay square. So when we say square, we're pointed forwards. Everything is in line, and you want to lift your weight. So it's as level to the shoulder as possible. Do the other side. Our core is braced and starting to engage some of the back of the shoulder and around by the scapula, in addition to the triceps. That's the kickback row. You also see some push-ups. We did those here. Sometimes you'll see a tricep dip. You can use a chair if you're working out at home. And our replay and a lot of the other workouts that we've got up, we'll have some tricep dips in there as well. But an alternative, if you don't want to use a chair, is you can sit down, bend your elbows, and press up, driving through the palm to activate the back of the arm. So just like we push through our feet and our heels to use the back of the body in any of the deadlifts, dead rows, all that kind of stuff, even into squats, we press through the palm of the hand to wake up the back of the arm. All part of that same kinetic chain of energy. Using the force that we get from the ground as energy that's going to reverberate up through the arm. So those are the tricep tracks. With biceps, the plates are very versatile. So with the plates, you can do some unilateral training with arms, single arm curl, just like this, with a twist. You can also do a hammer curl, just like this. And showed this one earlier, the bicep row, where we twist, reset, and rise. With biceps, elbows under shoulders is key. That helps give you shoulder stability, but also proper isolation of the muscle. Again, brace core, set position, all here too. With lunges, again, you can do lunges with your own body weight. They can be done with the barbell or a plate. Taking your feet from that hip width position, taking a big step back so you can bring back knee under hip and front knee over ankle. Nice and tall through the upper body. And again, core braced. I'll show you the profile. Drive through the front heel, but squeeze each glute. That's super important. Lunges, one of my favorite movements to do in body pump and in strength training in general. It's functional, it's fundamental, but also because it's a unilateral movement, we're getting so much benefit for the glutes and the hamstrings. Because of a lot of our daily habits, generally our glutes tend to be a little bit weaker just because they're not engaged as much. You know, we're sat down all day, so we tend to be very front body kind of dominant in our exercises. But the lunges and also our back tracks really help wake up the back of the body. That's the athletic side of the body. That's the functional side where we really see everything that's helping us stay strong and tall and moving well is those muscles, are those muscles. So that's why I love a lunge track. Sometimes you will see different variations of lunges where you'll see, say, like a triple pulse. You might even see a lunge to a knee lift, little dynamic movement. You'll see tempos where it's like this, step back lunge. Or you'll see it broken down into phases. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of alternatives for you. And if you're just starting out with body pump, give it a go with just you. You'll really feel it. promise. Time for shoulders. So we're almost through the whole class, right? So with this one, what we're gonna do is, I will show you some movements with the plates that we'll see. We tend to see in the more recent releases a lot more use of the plates. And I think that's a really great thing. Using the bar is awesome too. And when you get to do both together, even better. Combine it with push-ups, perfect. But with the weights, again, unilateral training, you get to find out if you have, which side you have those imbalances on, because we all have them. You'll feel your stronger side. You usually feel it pretty quickly. You'll notice if there's any like tightness on one side, things like that. You'll notice those changes or those differences, I'll say, much more readily apparent when you're training each side individually versus using the bar, for example, which may, one side, your stronger side, might be compensating for the other. So that's why I love trying to mix it up with training with dumbbells, doing single arm movements or single leg movements really helps with finding those imbalances. And it just helps you identify to understand how your body feels when you're working out, but also to be able to kind of understand what your body's doing, how it moves, and just bringing that awareness to your body. That's the biggest thing, I think, is just having that awareness. So I know I did a lot of talking there. So with your weights, take your elbows to 90 degrees and start hip width. So rather than starting like here, here. You want to keep the muscle demands going. Lift through elbows, side raise. You will also see an alternative of a Mac raise, combining a front raise and a side raise. Raise the weights to just at shoulder level. And you want to use control as you lift and lower the plates. That's really important with BodyPump, especially when we've got a single tempo move like this. So that is a really important thing to maintain that control. And that's why opting for, especially for isolation movements, lighter weights is better. So those are your side raises, your Mac raises. You will occasionally have front raises, and you'll see that demand on the front of the shoulder, but also through the core. So really important to recruit the legs. And one of my favorite movements, two of them actually, are the rear delt raise. Because again, I'm all about training the back of the body. And then reverse fly. Really great way to strengthen the post delt, which helps with extension. Then you'll also have overhead presses. So if you're using your dumbbells, I'll turn to the side. Strict press, you can bring the weights up overhead and back down. You can have your elbows more to the side. And that's the overhead press. You will also see upright rows where you're bringing the bar close. So kind of like the beginnings of the clean and press, but it's much more strict. Isn't as dynamic of a movement as the clean and press. Same idea though, bar close to you throughout. So those are the major movements that you'll see. I also have on my Instagram a whole series about the movements you'll see in BodyPump. So there's actually a whole kind of library that you can check out on my Instagram to go through the movements again. You can replay this webinar. So there's a lot there if you have any questions. Yeah, and so you can feel free to message me with any questions that you might have. If you're looking for a recommendation upon how frequently to do BodyPump, good starter, about twice a week. spread it out over the course of the week though. So say you wanted to do, your body pump on just say like Tuesday or something like that. The next time you would probably do it is probably around like Friday. And so that way you can space it out, give your body enough time to rest. And especially if you're trying this out for the first time, it will feel very different. And so it just gives your body that chance to recover, restore, and then you'll feel good for the next class. And then also make sure to really take time and do the stretching that's involved in a body pump class. Really will help you with just recovery, resetting, and stretching is just as important as the workout itself. So that's a really, really important thing to make sure you do at the end of the class. And then sometimes in the 45-minute sessions, you'll see different combination tracks for your triceps and biceps, and lunges and shoulders. So you get a little bit of both. That way you get a really comprehensive workout in 45 minutes. So the express format, also a great alternative if you're trying to do, say, like a lunchtime workout. If you've got a 9 to 5 and you want to get in something, but can't do the full hour, the 45 is a great option. And even the 30 will take you through tracks 1 through 4. So that's up to the back track. And that's still a really solid session. And then again, just make sure you get the stretch in and hydrate well after class. That's another really important thing, is hydration. So if you're taking a class with me in the studio or even here virtually, you guys know how much I talk about hydration because it's really important. So yeah, it was great to share these tips and tricks and on several of these webinars this summer. So check out what's coming up this fall. Check out the website. I'll be posting some things to my Instagram as well, so you can check all of that out. And yeah, thanks so much for joining today. Take care and see you next time. Thanks, everybody.